Hi, this is Vaibhav More, and I'm from Vaibhav More Films. I'm basically into animation. We do promos, packagings, and ad films for various television channels. And my recent ventures have been doing TV series and a couple of ad film series for Cartoon Network Hong Kong. And recently we have won some Promax Gold Asia Awards as well. So there's quite amount of recognition that me and my studio has received recently. My exact specialization is in character animation and designing concepts and developing them for television channels. Recently, I finished a series of 5 ad films for Cartoon Network Hong Kong, which was sponsored by Lifebuoy Hand Wash. And Cartoon Network Hong Kong, they wanted me to come up with an idea where they could promote Lifebuoy Hand Wash, keeping in mind the target audience age group between 5 to 12. And so it was a great challenge, but at the same time, me and the in-house producer of Cartoon Network Hong Kong, we came up with an idea of animating hands. And fortunately, we wrote some scripts which were approved by the Turners, and we happened to execute few ad films which where we tried to copy the mannerisms of the famous IPs like Tom and Jerry, Ben 10, and of course Chota Bheem. And it was released in 5 countries, and we won a Promax Gold Asia for the best brand design campaign this year. The first thing that we kept in mind was we did not wanted to imitate the exact mannerism of these famous characters, because it is merely impossible for us to match such a legendary IP. But at the same time, we were very keen on experimenting with the chemistry that Tom and Jerry has. And fortunately, when we pitched the ideas to the Turners, they had all the rights to approve certain things where we could take references to understand the mannerism and the chemistry of the characters. That was the first preparation that we did. The second was to design the characters. They had to be appealing, they had to look cute. At the same time, they should convey a certain message to the audience. So, and it had to be in a very simplified mode. So the biggest challenge was to simplify the characters, and it should be addressing the right thing, you know. So we came up with this idea of creating characters out of hands, and we happened to accidentally design Dr. Lifebuoy, which is a animated hand which guides all the other hands which are spoiled how to clean themselves. So that concept itself was good enough for us to get into the basic character designs. And then we did a small bit research on hand puppet, like what do you call it, Muppet animation. And we referred few Muppet animation videos, and we just went ahead. Pre-production steps, basically you start with a lot of referencing. Once you get the script in your hand, it's very important to understand how to visually interpret the script in a visual format. So before even if we get on the drawing board, we do a lot of referencing on Google Images. We do a lot of referencing for the audio. We do a lot of referencing for from the live action as well. In this particular case, we had a few references where we could go directly and see a few series of Tom and Jerry and Ben 10 and Chota Bheem. Other than that, once you lock the references, once you start designing the characters, the first important thing is to put all the script on the storyboard format. Once you design the storyboard, the second important thing is to time the storyboard, and for that we create a very basic animatics. And after animatics, it's very important to get approvals from the clients before you start the final animation. And animation is all about improvisations. Or no matter how much you prepare on the storyboard, there is always some improvisation that an animator has to do on the animation level. And post that, animation is the lineup edit and matching the look and feel and the basic composite. So those are the basic steps that I think every student or every professional has to keep in mind to design an animation film. Well, of course, when it comes to suggestion, I have lots of them. But on the student level, I would only advise to stick to the basics, not focus too much on learning the shortcuts of the software. But if you want to get into an animation industry, if you really want to be an animator or an animation director, the first important thing is to get your basics right on paper and pencil. And I think the emphasis in the curriculum should be more on designing things on paper and pencil. And then of course the knowledge of software is also very important, because as you know, uh, today in today's era, everything what we do design eventually has to put on a digital format where you need to use certain softwares. But that still feel is a secondary thing. The first important thing the students should keep in mind is to get their vision right on paper and pencil. And that builds in a lot of confidence to every student. um, there are softwares like Maya, Flash, After Effects, many to name actually. Mastering the software is not very important, but what do you want to achieve and to get your vision clear, that is the most important thing I think is that should be included in the curriculum. And I think Mac is doing a great job. I think the basic skill set is to get your temperament right. The industry uh, throws a lot of challenges at you. Every job is very different and very challenging. So the first thing that any person or any student who really wants to get into the industry is, I think, should be open to accept challenges, should be open to learn on every project, should be open to accept the criticism and learn from your own mistakes. Other than that, I think, of course, the right attitude towards all those things is very important. Uh, Along with this, since it's a very competitive industry nowadays, and it's going to be more competitive in the coming years, so I think a basic showreel can really help, push your envelope to get a job in the industry. So please work on your showreel. Please work on all aspects of the showreel. Don't just focus on one thing. On a student level, I think you can try out everything, right from storytelling, modeling, animation, character design, visual effects. I think you should focus on everything while you're designing the portfolio. Um, it will really help you get into the industry very well. So I think the first and the basic tip is to be very clear with what you want to show in the showreel. If you are a character designer, it doesn't matter how well rendered is your character animation. I think you should have bits and pieces of 2D animation, 3D animation. You should have certain short stories that you can include in your showreel. As a visual effects, people who want to get into visual effects, they can of course study from so many amazing movies that have been coming out, and maybe try to incorporate all those kind of things in your showreel. um, I think, yeah, that's more than enough. And keep the showreel short. Don't keep it very long, you know, because professionals in the industry have very less time to review your showreel, and of course they have a trained eye, so they don't need to see 5 minutes of showreel. They can judge your work just by seeing first 20 seconds. That's, I think, the first advice that I want to give to a student after they pass out and they apply for a job. You have to be you have to know that it's not going to be a very smooth sailing path. It never is for anybody. So you have to be prepared mentally that it's going to be a rough patch. You have to go through series of interviews. There might be jobs that you might just find in the beginning might not interest you at all, but you should take it as a learning process. And no matter how bad the job is, you always learn something, even from a bad thing. There's always something good to learn from a bad thing. So at the same time, I think simultaneously what I did when I was a student, I would always work simultaneously on my showreel, improving my work in every aspect. And I still do that. I still try to improve my showreel every time I get a bit of time off from my commercial work. And it takes quite amount of time in this industry to perfect your art, and but there are many challenges that will be thrown at you, and those should be taken as learning experiences, and those small challenges will eventually make you a very good and efficient artist. So it keeps me going. I think my love for my work is the only thing that keeps me going. um, I really love what I do, and it has taken many years of efforts to get to a position where I'm still struggling actually, but I enjoy my work more now because I accept a lot of things, and in this industry, if you really don't love what you are doing, there is no point to be here. And the only reason for me being so energetic and being so happy by doing my work is actually because of my love towards my work. And I think this is the master key for the success. Learn to love your work, and eventually the work will love you. In our industry, your performance is very much visible on face. The number of years of experience, according to me, doesn't count, because you in this industry you're as good as your last job. So if you do your first job as good as you can, the success is definitely yours. Okay, but the key is to keep on improving. The key is to keep on going, keep on doing better things, and performing better than what you did before. And this is the basic stepping stone which you can't avoid. You have to go through the struggle, but every step is like a learning experience. And eventually, if you are in love with your work, eventually, if you really like what you're doing, you are going to be successful. All you have to do is a little bit of patience, a lot of hard work, and a lot of dedication and love for your work. I think it's a perfect recipe for success. My first salary was 500 rupees for entire month. Okay, my first salary was actually 500 rupees for entire month of screen printing, and and before that I was paid 100 rupees for doing 10 illustrations for a fashion magazine, which would probably take 2 days for me to do. But those 100 rupees were more valuable than whatever I'm making right now. Advice to students. Okay, my advice to students all over India and abroad, if you have franchises over there, that it's not my advice, it's what Steve Jobs said once, is stay hungry, stay foolish, and it really works for our field.